And yeah, you might see my cat try and block the view from time to time. How rude, Nemo. Just how rude. Yeah, get out of the way of the camera, please. Thank you. Love you, though. So, I kind of did like 3 Star Wars rants on my channel, Phil TMNT. And then, yeah, Phil TMNT. TMNT was the abbreviation for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's one word. And then V as in victory, IL, second word. So it's Phil TMNT Ville is my personal YouTube channel's name, where I did 3 Star Wars rants, and I figured, okay, why not? Why should? Pretty much, I'm gonna make some of me doing my Star Wars rants on this channel too. So, anyways, here we go. So, I'm not excited for the Han Solo movie because it's an origin story. I mean, I wouldn't mind having an origin story for Han Solo if it was like a video game or a book. And I feel like it would Lucasfilms would have less heat if Lucasfilm says, "Hey, let's make a Han Solo movie or Han Solo origin story, but put it in book form." I don't know how hmm. I don't know how to exactly try. Pretty much, I would prefer a Han Solo book over a movie because, first off, I am fully aware I'm not the only one who is in this position too. I did not want for Han Solo to have his own movie or his own origin story, I should say, because I wouldn't mind before the Han Solo movie came out. I wouldn't have mind Lando having his own movie. But after they announced, "Hey guys, we're gonna have a Han Solo movie," I was kind of like, "What the heck?" And then later, I kind of might want for a Lando Calrissian movie, regardless if it was recently confirmed or not. Kind of died out, and I feel like some characters, Han Solo being one of those characters, would be better off if we didn't get a origin story. Cause I feel like some characters would be just better off if we didn't really know their origins at all. Like with Yoda, for example. I wouldn't mind seeing a Yoda. I wouldn't mind seeing Yoda, a younger version of Yoda, in like an Old Republic movie or Old Republic trilogy. Or sorry guys. But and I feel the same way with Han. If we were in this other universe, alternate dimension where Captain Kennedy said, "Hey guys, we're making a Lando movie, not a Han Solo movie," then I would say, and I'm sorry if I'm explaining this in a bad way, but I would be more excited then for hmm, a Lando movie. Sorry, I almost forgot his name. A Lando movie. Would you stop getting in the way of the camera? Thank you, Nemo. I love you. And part of it's because of the Last Jedi, and like I feel like part of the reason why people are not as excited for the Han Solo movie, other than the fact that nobody literally wanted the Han Solo movie, is because The Last Jedi. Hold on. Who's texting me? Okay. The, a lot of fans feel like The Last Jedi kind of like killed the Star Wars for them, while others are saying, "Yay, there's nothing wrong with The Last Jedi," which I will get into that later. And for like a few months, I was on this Last Jedi high, where I would say, "Oh yeah, there was barely anything wrong with The Last Jedi," because I actually really enjoyed The Last Jedi when I saw it 3 times in theaters. Now that I'm kind of coming back from this movie high from when I was watching Star Wars: The Last Jedi in like January, I'm more like, okay, it's not as good as of a movie as I thought it was. Because normally I would let my mind calm down a bit, like a week before really trying to nitpick, like if there's any bad things to a movie. Cause I know me, especially when it comes to Star Wars, for at least a week, I'll be to most of a fandom high, where I probably will be saying the same as those pro Last Jedi, saying, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with the Last Jedi. If you don't like the Last Jedi, then you're sexist, you're racist, and get out of the way, Nemo. And thank you. And no scratching, please. Thank you." Which, first off, the people who says that you're sexist and racist just because you didn't like The Last Jedi are stupid. Because the reason why people don't like Star Wars: The Last Jedi or any movie in general, regardless if it's like female with dominant lead, like with Wonder Woman or whatnot, it's not because, oh, that character is black, that character is a female, that character is a different race than me or different gender than me. At least, I feel like in most cases, it's not like that. In most cases, we really, people judge movies based off the storytelling and the character development and stuff like that. And for The Last Jedi, I feel like the biggest complaint that a lot of fans has is, one, Ryan Johnson kind of totally like ignored a lot of essential things J.J. Abrams said, like had put up in The Force Awakens. And two, I feel like, and I feel like too, Ryan Johnson put too much political of his political views in The Last Jedi. And yes, the cancel bite was excuse for Ryan Johnson to put his political views in Star Wars. Having politics in Star Wars isn't really that bad, but we already kind of have the prequels that were mainly political driven per se, compared to like the original trilogy who had less politics in them. But even then, with George Lucas, he wasn't really focused on the politics. He was more focused on the story. And yes, not the last, right? The Attack of the Clones is my least favorite Star Wars movie in general. But I gotta admit, as many things as I would change in the movie, there are a lot of things in the movie, more than The Last Jedi, than that I will keep. Now, speaking of The Last Jedi, I didn't really mind what they did with Luke Skywalker. like having him being a grumpy old man who put himself into self exile for like what the for like 15 years. And I didn't mind that part to Luke Skywalker. The only part that I did mind that really made me upset with how the only part to Luke Skywalker that made me upset in The Last Jedi was his death. Because Ryan Johnson did say that he felt like Luke Skywalker was. I've heard some rumors that the original person who was writing the script to Luke Skywalker, like for episode 9, they had trouble putting Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi because they felt like he was overshadowing like everybody in that scene. Well, of course, because he's Luke Skywalker. What do you expect? Same with Princess General Leia. Same with Han Solo. And debatedly Chewbacca and the two droids that were in the OT and the PT. OT original trilogy, PT prequel trilogy. And but yeah, I can see that being a challenge. But so that's a good challenge though. Like finding a way to having one of the most beloved characters not really overriding the other characters for that long. I'm having trouble finding my words how I explain this. Pretty much the bottom line is I didn't mind the grumpy old hermit that they made Luke Skywalker out to be in The Last Jedi. The only part that I did not like where they put Luke Skywalker in was him dying. Because especially in the original cut for the sequel trilogy, and when I mean the original cut, I mean the George Lucas cut. George Lucas had it where Leia was the new Jedi in training of this new trilogy. Luke was a Jedi Master. He was currently training Leia the ways of the Force, ways of the Jedi, and so he can. And he was going to die in episode 9. Now I'm okay with not seeing Leia being trained in the ways of the Force in this trilogy. Because it's like we had like 30, 40 years in between the events of Return of the Jedi and the Force Awakens. So I'm okay with not seeing Leia being trained in the ways of the Force. Yeah, it would be nice to see more training for Rey in The Last Jedi. And hopefully we could see a little bit more training for Rey in episode 9, while she kind of also struggles to train a newer generation of Jedi in episode 9. And yeah, I wished that Ryan Johnson would have kind of like in a way respected uh George Lucas's vision for Luke Skywalker in a sense by keeping him alive in episode 8, The Last Jedi, so that way that he can kind of like get killed off in episode 9, have like the first 30 minutes us seeing Luke in physical form, then possibly Kylo Ren killing Luke off, and then later in the movie seeing him as a Force ghost. And the reason why I was okay with Luke, and still am, regardless if he'll come back as a Force ghost in episode 9 or not, was I prefer if he survived so we can have the best of both worlds, per se. But the reason why I was okay with the grumpy old Luke in The Last Jedi is because we still had one more movie where they could have saved Luke's death for episode 9, where Something might have happened. He might have got like blown up into smithereens by like a random TIE fighter, or been in a fight with Kylo Ren and he pulling an Obi-Wan Kenobi on the Death Star and letting Kylo Ren kill him and pretty much transcending his consciousness in the Force. And then later, about like 10 minutes later in the movie, show up to Rey as a Force Ghost saying, "Hey Rey, us Jedi, we can do this. And I can teach you how to do this too." And blur, blur, blur. So when your time comes, you can manifest your consciousness into the Force so you can train new generation or can still keep training newer Jedi or Jedi in training. I don't know how else to explain it. Point is, it would have been awesome to have Luke Skywalker alive in Episode 9. And I'm not gonna go the traditional route saying, "Oh yeah, because Carrie Fisher is dead." Was rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. But I'm not gonna say, "Oh, it would be nice to have Luke Skywalker die because Carrie Fisher is dead, and it wouldn't be the same." Blah blah blah, which might not be the same, but I feel too many people, or at least a lot of people, are saying, "I wish Luke Skywalker died because Carrie Fisher is dead, and we need somebody from the OT to come in here." Which, granted, that Luke can still come back as a Force ghost, but there is still Lando. And I've heard that they try to have Lando this somewhat sexual term that means he's like bisexual, plus he was bisexual means you date either gender. Well, in this case, I forgot the proper term, but he also dates aliens as well, which is pretty much bisexual, but including aliens, which, do I really care about Lando's sexual life? No. I mean, if he if we so happen to see Lando in episode 9 with a man, him married to a man, I would say, okay, I'm happy. I would just say, oh, I'm happy for Lando. He found somebody that makes him happy. That that's seriously what matters with me. I don't care if you're a boy or a girl dating the same gender as you are. If that person makes you happy, then okay. I'm okay. It's just being gay or whatnot never really bothered me. Even though I'm not going to say my if I'm bi, straight, or gay, because that's none of your guys' business. But you know, anyways, Ghost Anakin in episode 9 be awesome. Cause yeah, Leia would have been the best choice. I feel. I mean, bec- I feel other than Anakin, taking Anakin out of the equation for a second and bringing Leia, I feel like Leia would have been the best choice to try to convert Kylo Ren back to the light side, because we saw in The Last Jedi, right before Leia used the Mary Poppins to pull herself back to the ship after a random TIE fighter exploded that part of the ship. We saw Kylo Ren about to shoot this like little hangar bay or whatever, and Leia was on this little hangar bay. We saw Leia sensing Kylo sensing Leia, and we saw Kylo Ren struggling to decide whether or not he was going to pull the trigger. He ended up not pulling the trigger, because somebody else pulled the trigger, putting Leia into a coma for like half the movie. And I feel like outside of Anakin, Leia would have probably been the best person to convince Kylo Ren to turn back to the good side. Cause I guess, cause in that case, since he always loves his mother and he has a weak the spot for his mother, I don't I don't know how to explain it. Just those relationships where the parent and child are so close they can talk to about anything, even that if the person kind of goes under, that parent that the child's close to has a really awesome chance of bringing that child back up and pulling that child out from the gunk that they potentially are that they're in. Well, I feel like Leia could is like one of those parents to Kylo Ren in this case. Now, Ghost Anakin, on the other hand, it'd be epic. I want to see Hayden Christensen back as Anakin, as Force Anakin. I don't even mind seeing Hayden Christensen come back as a clone version of Anakin Skywalker, but it's kind of like, yeah, I don't mind a clone Anakin either, but but the reason why I'm saying a ghost Anakin Skywalker for Episode 9 is because Anakin kind of went through the same things Kylo Ren is going through, at least some things similar. Anakin has struggled in his darkness to control his darkness in the Clone Wars. Then he fully immersed in his darkness in towards the end of Revenge of the Sith and the original trilogy. And then here's, at least with episode 4, episode 5, then episode 6, you kind of like, you can see Vader kind of struggling between the light and the dark because Luke was trying to convert Vader back to being Anakin. And so I feel like, because Kylo Ren to me feels like he's also kind of struggling between the light and the dark in himself. And I believe everybody's doing that in real life too. And right now with the darkness, and Kylo Ren is outweighing the light. And since Anakin has, like in his youthful years, struggled with his darkness, and then for like 35-ish years, he, he allowed it, or 25-ish years, he had allowed it to take control of him, and then it literally was almost the cause of his own son's death that turned him back. Hold on. Okay. Turned him back to the good side. So, I feel like Anakin can somehow, from telling Kylo Ren like his personal struggles back when he was alive to Kylo Ren, could ultimately work in the Resistance favor in ending the First Order. Plus, it would be cool to see Ghost Luke and Ghost Anakin on the big screen together. Seeing Hayden Christensen and Mark Hamill together on the big screen. That'd be awesome. Better idea than having Yoda back in Episode 9 for just cause. Anakin would Ghost Anakin would serve the story way better in Episode 9 than Yoda could in Episode 9. And I believe Yoda in The Last Jedi served. It was okay. He served his purpose in episode 8 with telling Luke, hey, yeah, you made a mistake. Now stop living in the past, move forward, Kuna Matata, your ass up, and help the resistance, was ultimately Luke Skywalker because of Yoda pretty much stopped throwing himself a pity party and helped the resistance. And I don't know. It's pretty much Yoda, Ghost Yoda, served his purpose in this new trilogy for episode 8. So let's see Ghost Anakin in episode 9. I feel like it would be too much to have Ghost Obi-Wan in episode 9. So if they're gonna have Obi-Wan in episode 9, have it be in like a hollow fade. Where then they will be perfectly okay to have like a hollow recording of like old Ben Kenobi where they can CGI Alice Goodness' face. And I feel like fans would be okay if they CGI Sir Alice Goodness' face if they did a hollow recording of old Ben Kenobi, or do like the Clone Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi, or more like the prequels Obi-Wan Kenobi, who was played by Ian McGregor. I don't know how else to explain it. I hope you guys get what I'm saying. It's just it would be too much to have Ghost Obi-Wan in episode 9 in this new trilogy, regardless if they decide to do that. Oh yeah, Force Ghosts can age down, or regardless if they're gonna use Ian McGregor or CGI Alice Guinness's face as Force Ghost Obi-Wan. And I feel like it would be too much to use Yoda again in this new trilogy. And I feel like it's only right to have Hayden Christensen to reprise this role as Anakin for one last go. And speaking of Obi-Wan, there are only like 3 like movie standalone movies that I want to see happen. A Force Unleashed movie, and The Force Unleashed is my favorite Star Wars video game ever, and is now considered legend because it came out before Lucasfilms was owned by Disney. So I want Force Unleashed game, and I want another now Legends game to be into like a movie, but more like a trilogy form, and that is the Old Republic. And yeah, have Yoda play a cameo in the Old Republic movie or movies. I would honestly be more okay with having Yoda, a younger version of Yoda, making a cameo in an Old Republic movie than having a Yoda based movie, to be honest. And then my last movie that I want to see that's a standalone movie, at least at the moment, is Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is my favorite Jedi out of the prequels. And I don't want an Obi-Wan origin story because I feel like we kind of got that kinda in the prequels. I want to see what happened to Obi-Wan in between Revenge of the Sith and Rogue One. Like have Ian McGregor be reprised as well as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And from the synopsis of what I've heard, it's pretty much the same way as the Now Legends book Kenobi, which is my favorite Star Wars book of all time, seriously. Because it shows Obi-Wan having like PTSD on Tatooine, him struggling to stay, to keep up a hermit life to protect Luke Skywalker from a distance, while not indulging in his old Jedi habits and helping people, which in that book he can't help but go back into his old Jedi ways and help the this this family that owns a store in in the book. I suggest you guys reading it because that's a really awesome book. It's called Kenobi, and it's about Obi-Wan's like one of his adventures or some of his adventures in between episode 3 and episode 4. It's amazing, and I promise you guys you won't be disappointed. Now, I told you no, but I don't want a Han Solo movie because I feel like some characters would benefit the most if we didn't get a standalone movie. And Han Solo's one of them. Now, granted that I want a Lando movie now? Not anymore, and I believe I already explained why earlier. But would I welcome it? Extremely hesitant like. Extremely hesitant like. Because and Ryan Johnson kind of said in one of the interviews, he kind of called himself out too. Which is the thing I'm going to complain about is that it's really about Kathleen Kennedy though, about not listening to the fans. And that's a source of where a lot of the Star Wars fans are angry from. It's that Kathleen Kennedy refuses to listen to us fans, the fans that kind of, without us, Star Wars wouldn't really be anything. And I don't know. Pretty much, it's kind of also goes. I'm trying to say this in the most respectful way, yet where you guys will understand. And Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers actually made a pretty good metaphor. It's kind of like you're going to this one restaurant. You keep on going to this one restaurant because you like this one thing that the restaurant serves. But one day the restaurant doesn't have stop selling the thing that you like. So they say, "Oh no, we're never." Or yeah, so they say, "No, we're serving you this." But what about no? We're serving you this, and you like it. If you don't like it, then you don't have any good taste. Got poor taste in restaurants. Blur blur blur. I forgot his exact wording in this metaphor, but that was pretty much this metaphor. And Jeremy's videos from Geeks and Gamers are awesome, so I suggest you guys check out that channel. And Kathleen Kennedy, I'm not saying that she's a bad person, so she, in this case, makes a bad business person. Because making movies is about business. And uh having if you're going to build any franchise up, and George Lucas did an excellent job building the Star Wars franchise up. If you want to keep on growing the franchise up, then what you want to do, which is the smartest thing to do, especially in the movie industry, is actually listen to the fans. Don't say, "Oh, no, you're wrong. You're sexist. You're racist because you don't like this movie. This movie is perfect." That is like the worst thing you can do if you want to build your movie franchise up. That's a good way to destroy a franchise. Gotta listen to the fans and remember. And there's a few times where the fans are wrong, but listen to the fans. Now, with Rogue One, did I exactly want on an origin story and how the rebels got the Death Star? I can't say no because I was open to the idea. Well, because just I was open to the idea of okay, how did the rebels get the Death Star plans? Or yeah, but the Han Solo movie, like barely like nobody really wanted a Han Solo prequel movie or at all. If they, like I said earlier, if they wanted a Han Solo origin story, they should have left that in a. They should have let somebody write that in a book form. And I feel like that's part of what they should do. If like they hear some characters, like I said, we better off if we don't get an origin story, especially in movie form. And some characters' origin stories are better in book form, and then vice versa into movie form, or even better yet, video game form. And I feel like the Han Solo origin story would be better if they had made it into a book form. All I'm saying. And I am planning to see Solo Star Wars story. Am I going to see it opening weekend? I don't know. Hopefully I will, but I don't know. I say hopefully I will, so I can get that out of my way. But after seeing the Star Wars holiday special, my expectations is not as low as it was one before. And speaking of the holiday special, it was boring as hell. Let me tell you. Because technically, if you want to be technical, that was the first standalone movie ever. And Rogue One, a Star Wars story, is the second standalone movie. Because Star Wars The Holiday Special is about Han Solo trying to get Chewbacca to Kashyyyk to his family so they can celebrate this Wookiee religious religious thing on Kashyyyk called Light Day. And I guess it's kind of like Thanksgiving, from what I understand. From what I've seen from the hour and like half I've seen on YouTube yesterday. And I swear I wanted to gouge my eyes out. Like, seriously. I want to rip my eyes out my sockets as I was watching that movie. Like, the movie started out, the special started out with Han and Chewbacca uh escaping TIE fighters. And keep in mind this takes place in between episode 4, A New Hope, and episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. And like I said, it's Sosu, Han and Chewie and the Millennium Falcon escaping some TIE fighters. And it's cool. Then we get to see some Chewbacca's relatives on Kashyyyk. And it's fine for a few minutes, but then it kind of gets boring, to be honest. And we see, and Harrison Ford, uh, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher reprised their roles as Luke Skywalker, Leia, and Han. Peter Mayhew and Daniel. Crap, I've got the guy who plays C3PO, but Peter Mayhew plays Chewbacca reprised his role as Chewbacca, and Anthony Daniels reprised his role as C-3PO. And James Earl Jones also reprises his role as Darth Vader, the voice. I don't know if David Prowse reprised his role as a guy underneath the Darth Vader suit. Most likely did. So that was cool. Seeing some of the original cast come back to reprise their roles in the holiday special, that was one of the very few good parts, I will say. The opening, where we see Han and Chewie escaping some TIE fighters, that was cool. The ending, where we actually saw Princess Leia singing, was cool. And yes, Princess Leia does sing. Literally. But yeah, I got like within the first 5 minutes. Okay, this is about Han trying to get Chewbacca back to Kashyyyk so he can spend this holiday with his family. And in a sense, it's kind of like Chewie, a Star Wars story, but it's really about his family waiting for Chewbacca and some Imperial people and some Imperials are on Kashyyyk and blur, and there's no like barely any action, and the little action that we do get is kind of cheesy. The acting is good, just so bad. George Lucas didn't make this special, but I've heard that he finds this special extremely bad, and if he will find the sledgehammer and destroy each copy of the holiday special he can. And I always wanted to see the holiday special to see where it's at. And after I seen it yesterday, which was like the most boring hour and a half about of my life watching Star Wars, I said to myself, The Phantom Menace is officially not the most boring Star Wars movie ever. And Attack of the Clones is officially not the worst Star Wars movie for me. Which is sad. Really, really sad. I don't know if you guys can see my face very well with this foreshadowing. But yeah, sad. Very, very sad. Anyways, I'm done ranting. Oh yeah, that new Star Wars show. The guy who played Happy in the Iron Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it was kind of like Iron Man's butler. He's making a Star Wars show, and so I'm excited. A live action Star Wars show, and I'm excited. And since he made the Jungle Book, which I liked, and I'm excited. And it's supposed to take place like 2 years after the Battle of Endor, a few years after the Battle of Endor. So I'm excited to see where that would take us. So, and the Dave Filoni's show, Star Wars Resistance, which supposed to also set in between the original trilogy and the new trilogy. So, anyways, it this live stream in 3, 2. Oh yeah, if there's anything I forgot, leave it in the comment section below. And may the force be with you. And I'm ending this live stream in 3, 2, 1.